ساتوی پسرو وینو دا د شهیدانو کور دا د باتورانو کور دا د باتورانو کور دا د باتورانو کور دا د باتورانو کور ساتوی پسرو وینو دا د شهیدانو کور دا
Good evening. Today is Thursday, December 5, 2024. I'm Suleiman Talash and you are watching RTA News. Maulavi Nurjalal Jalali, Minister of Public Health, met with Afghanistan's ambassador to Beijing, Maulavi Bilal Karimi, during his visit to China. The Ministry of Public Health said that during the meeting, they discussed China's cooperation in strengthening the country's health sector. According to the ministry, Mr. Karimi expressed confidence that China will continue its efforts to attract assistance for Afghanistan's health sector. The Commission for the Nomination of Historical Sites, Streets and Avenues of the country, chaired by Maulavi Atiqullah Azizi, Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture of the Ministry of Information and Culture, held its regular meeting. In this meeting, the committee appointed during the previous meeting presented a report which had visited the newly constructed streets and avenues in the 5th, 6th and 13th districts of Kabul city. The members of the commission made the necessary decisions based on this report. The meeting also discussed on the newly constructed road from Khairkhana to Qargha sector, two newly constructed avenues in Helmand province, and an avenue designed by an engineer in Parwan province. Maulavi Sadr Azam Osmani, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Irrigation, continued his visit to Iran and met with the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Jihad of Iran and the officials of the Iran-Afghanistan Joint Chamber of Commerce, where they discussed soil science, agricultural land reform and strengthening water resources management, cultivation and production of agricultural products. Let's see more in the report.
Maulavi Sadr Azam Osmani, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Irrigation, continued his visit to Iran and met with the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Jihad of Iran. In this meeting, both sides discussed agriculture, land reform, water resources management, transfer of new technologies, and the establishment of training programs for Afghanistan specialists.
In this meeting, both sides emphasized on the development of cooperation in soil science, agricultural land improvement, and strengthening water resources management and the use of new irrigation technologies.
Mr. Osmani also discussed the cultivation, production, and processing of agriculture products, as well as the development of trade between countries and the increases in export and imports. In addition to the meeting with members of Iran-Afghanistan Joint Chamber of Commerce.
In this meeting, both sides discussed opportunities for joint investment in the agricultural sector in Afghanistan, as well as increasing exports and imports of agricultural products and removing trade barriers between the two countries.
Furthermore, economic analysts say that Iran has advanced technology in the field of agriculture and livestock and can help strengthen Afghanistan's agricultural system.
With its modern technologies, especially in the agricultural sector, agricultural product processing experiences, and Afghanistan's proximity, Iran can play a key and fundamental role in the growth of Afghanistan's exports and trade relations with countries in the region and the world.
In addition to this meeting, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Livestock of the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock also met with representatives of the private sector of Iran's irrigation equipment and agriculture materials production. And the Iranian side has shown its readiness to transfer advanced irrigation system to Afghanistan.
The Deputy Border Inspector of the Ministry of Borders, Tribes and Tribal Affairs, Maulavi Muhammad Ismail, Ghaznavi was tasked with leading a delegation to form a committee to provide services to the people of the districts near the Durand Line in Logar province under the leadership of the deputy governor. For this purpose, the delegation, which included Maulavi Muhammad Nadir Sangin, the ministry's director of planning and policy, Maulavi Karim Shah Talavi, the director of personal affairs, and other officials, met with the deputy governor of Logar and the heads of relevant departments. In this meeting, based on the order of the Islamic Emirates leader, the committee was tasked with closely examining the initial problems of remote and unsurveyed areas and sharing the report with the Central Committee after detailed information. The Nangarhar Customs Investigations Department discovered and seized 123 kilograms of incendiary substances and an imported commercial shipment yesterday. The incendiary substances, which were skillfully placed in a transport vehicle that the smugglers intended to skillfully transport to Afghanistan, were discovered and seized. 2 people have been identified to the relevant authorities for further investigation after their arrest. It's worth mentioning that currently the country's customs are closely monitoring the import and export of smuggled and prohibited goods, and those involved are being prosecuted and brought to justice. Afghan refugees have returned from various routes in the country and have been provided with necessary services in various areas, according to which 67 families with 256 members returned to the country through Islam Qala, 21 families with 118 members returned to the country through Spin Boldag and were registered, and 7 families returned to the country through Torkham border. The European Union has provided 15 million euros to Afghanistan through the World Food Programme. The World Food Programme says that this assistance will cover farmers and those affected by natural disasters in Afghanistan, thereby increasing domestic productions. At the same time, officials from the Ministry of Economy welcome such assistance and insist on its continuation. Let's see more in the report.
The European Union has provided 15 million euros to Afghanistan through the World Food Programme, which will be used to further cooperate with farmers and those affected by natural disaster in Afghanistan in the field of production.
The European Union is particularly pleased to reinforce its partnership with the World Food Programme in Afghanistan in support to the people of this country. We have been doing so for some time together. We are looking at how we can best address the incidences of climate change in Afghanistan, looking at how we can reinforce resilience of communities.
Through our programs, we are supporting family with their immediate food needs, while we support the communities to build longer-term resilience to climate change, which is imminent and happening now. Together, we can support the next generation of Afghans and make sure that they can put enough food on their table.
Meanwhile, officials from the Ministry of Economy welcome this type of assistance and insist on its continuation.
We are trying to ensure that these donations reach deserving people in a transparent and supervised manner, and any kind of corruption is prohibited. Our demand from the international community and aid organizations is to increase these aids in quantity and quality. This assistance should be considered in infrastructure and development projects. They should work together to make a mechanism through which they could establish to create working opportunities in the future.
It's worth mentioning that the Qatar Ministry of Foreign Affairs had previously issued a press release on Wednesday stating that Mariam Binti Ali bin Nasir Al Masned, Minister of State for International Cooperation, met with the British ambassador to Afghanistan, Andrew McBurry, and discussed the improvement of the situation in Afghanistan, health, education, and humanitarian assistance.
Maulavi Abdul Samad Javed was introduced as the new governor of Ghazni to the local administration officials and elders to the province in a meeting based on the order of Amir al-Mu'minin Hafazahullah. According to local officials, in this meeting, the deputy administrative officer of the Ministry of Interior Affairs described change and transformation in Islamic government as a natural thing and asked the local administration officials and the citizens of Ghazni to cooperate with the new governor of this province in advanced matters. The Food and Agriculture Organization, the International Organization for Migration, and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, will launch an alternative poppy cultivation project in Kandahar and Helmand provinces by 2025, the provincial governor's office said. According to the office, the project includes the distribution of wheat, raisin, and onion seeds, construction of greenhouses, distribution of livestock and animal feed, support of gardeners and construction of new gardens, training of farmers and gardeners, marketing of agricultural products, employment for people, and support of small enterprises. And the final one is that the Kunduz Provincial Disaster Management Authority, with financial support of ACTED organization, distributed cash assistance to 192 families affected by recent floods in the Khanabad, Dasht-e-Archi, and Aliabad districts of the province. It's worth mentioning that 20,445 Afghanis were distributed to each family in this series. That's all for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.
ساتوی پسرو وینو دا د شهیدانو کور دا